Okay, today we are diving into some really fascinating reports floating around about what Apple might be cooking up next. And it's not what you think. We're talking about a wearable, screenless, AI pin. Let's get into what this could mean for, well, everything. You know, for more than a decade, the smartphone has been the absolute center of our universe. But the biggest question in tech, the one everyone's trying to answer, is pretty simple. What comes next? What could possibly replace this little supercomputer we all have in our pockets?
Well, a brand new report suggests Apple is looking at one very, very different possibility.
So, here's the scoop. The report claims Apple is in the super early stages of working on a totally new kind of device. This isn't just a new iPhone or another watch. It's a wearable gadget that's supposed to be driven by artificial intelligence and, this is the wild part, it might not have a screen at all. Okay, now before we all get way too excited, let's pump the brakes for a second. This info comes from a single report, though it is from The Information, which is a pretty solid source. Apple, being Apple, has said absolutely nothing. And the most important words here are early-stage exploration. That means it's basically just an idea they're kicking around, not a product that's about to hit stores.
So what in the world is this thing supposed to be? Let's unpack the whole AI pin concept.
An AI pin is a totally new type of gadget. Think of it as a small device you'd wear, maybe clipped onto your jacket, that's just there to help. Instead of swiping and tapping on a screen, you just talk to it. The AI is supposed to figure out what you need, find the info, and get stuff done for you.
So the whole point is that it's supposed to be incredibly simple. You'd clip it on and then kind of forget about it. When you need something, like what's this sign say in Spanish, or give me the gist of my last few emails, you just ask. The AI does all the heavy lifting in the background without you ever having to pull out your phone and get lost in a sea of apps.
Now here's where things get really interesting. Apple isn't just dreaming this stuff up in a bubble. There's a new hardware race that's quietly kicking off. To really get it, you just have to look at the humane iPin. It's already out there. It's also a clip-on gadget that uses your voice, but it has this little laser projector that can display stuff on your hand. But let's be honest, its launch was rough. The reviews were not kind. This rumored Apple device sounds like it has the same basic pin idea, but the big difference, at least from the report, is that it might be totally screen-free. Just you, your voice, and maybe audio feedback through your AirPods.
The big takeaway here is that we are at the very, very beginning of this whole thing. Nobody has cracked the code yet, it's a wide open field, and the first products have really shown just how hard this is to pull off correctly.
Which, of course, brings up the big question. Why? Why would Apple, the king of the gorgeous screen, the company that perfected the smartphone, even be thinking about a screenless world? This quote right here really hits the nail on the head. Even though Apple is this massive giant, there's a real sense that it's playing catch-up in the big AI race against companies like OpenAI and Google. They need a big, bold new idea that's more than just making Siri a little smarter.
And when you think about it, looking into a pin like this makes a ton of sense for them. For one, they're always hunting for the next big thing to follow the iPhone. 2, it lets them jump right into this new AI hardware battle. And 3, it's a chance to explore a future where we're not all glued to screens 24/7. Not to mention, it could tie in perfectly with their other gear, right? Using AirPods for audio, or maybe even the Vision Pro for visuals.
So, what's the verdict? Is this really the future we're looking at, or is it just another cool experiment that'll end up on a shelf in a lab somewhere?
Before we go any further, though, we need to have a serious reality check about this whole conversation.
I really can't stress this enough. This is just an exploration, an idea. Companies like Apple have thousands of projects like this going on behind the scenes. The vast majority of them get canceled long before they ever become something real. So while it's super fun to imagine, there is absolutely no guarantee this AI pin will ever be a thing you can actually buy.
But even if it's just a rumor, the fact that this project even exists makes you think about a much bigger question. We have spent the last 20 years of our lives staring into glowing rectangles. This rumored device and others like it are pointing down a totally different path. So I'll just leave you with this to chew on. Are we headed for a future where our relationship with AI is screen-free? Only time will tell.